Imagine if life was like, yo, if you shoot the ball will magnet inside the net for basketball. Like, no matter where you shoot, it just magnets to the net. It would be exciting to watch. The other day, we announced the skill performed using both simple and technical input will share the exact same properties in Rising. From the comments we received, the most commonly requested to retain some of the disadvantage for simple inputs and questions regarding why we leave the option for technical input. If you are making a game where they are the same, then what is the point of playing classic? It's just a preference. But at the same time, if you're going to try to get serious, your preference kind of deteriorates because now it's only simple. First, I want to reassure that players that this system change was discussed over a long period of time, and we ultimately conclude that Granblue was the perfect game to dare such game design, which is crazy because I would say that Granblue Fantasy Versus was perfect. The only downside was the netcode. Honestly, the netcode is what killed that game. That was it. But I feel like they do know that. But we're gonna go ahead and talk more. We're gonna go ahead and hear it out. Just by the way, disclaimer: I have no issues with simple input modes. I just want you guys to understand that. My problem is right now, we're gonna go into it, but let's keep reading. All right. So before explaining further, I would like to say that we fully understand that that one of the most fulfilling aspects of fighting games, satisfaction of executing special moves. Okay, becoming one with your character as quickly input complex sequences that is feeling unique to fighting games. Many years, the fighting game community, including myself, have digested ever-increasing numbers of titles. For the veteran player, you could say accurate inputs have become second nature. Fighting game newcomers, on the other hand, don't have the same experience. We didn't want to discourage players from not being able to do so. That's fair. Fighting game newcomers don't have the same experience, and accurate inputs represent extreme difficulty. Okay, so my question is, what was the point of the change if that was already in the game? That's the thing I don't understand. However, the most enjoyable part of fighting game is two players duking it out on equal footing can only be experienced once this hurdle is... No, that's not how that works. That is so backward. If you make the game simple, the player who just knows how to play fighting games and break things down faster will always have the advantage over the player who is new to what's happening, and they'd be able to abuse the easy things even harder. And this is another issue that I've always had. They are trying to force new players to compete with these players when they shouldn't have to. They should just be having fun and being able to play with people who look at the game fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. It's like the easy inputs is there. Cool. You got the Fall Guys in the game. Cool. You got new story mode where you can play co-op with your friends. Cool. You know, they added these mechanics. These mechanics are a little crazy, but I get it. It's for new players, and I totally support that. But then you're like, well, we want them to be competing with equal footing. So you make it easy, and that's just not how that works. Like, I don't understand why companies like this particular would do this, because I'm gonna be honest with you, they definitely didn't make Granblue Rising for new players. And the reason why I say that is because new players didn't ask for rollback. New players didn't ask for new mechanics. You know who asked for those? Literally the people who play those games. So you did all of this for the players that played your game, and now you're not listening to them? They definitely put mad money in the game. They had to because of rollback. So my question is why do all of that and then double down and be like, nah, we want equal footing to duke it out? No, let new players have things that they can do and have fun. You don't have to force scenarios. Like, I kid you not, I like Street Fighter 6 a lot because I'm like, yo, there's a balance. You can choose both. And to be honest with you, Mana controls is pretty damn good. I ran into a modern Ryu, and that dude was gaming. I be watching random Street Fighter series, modern players be cooking. But there's a loss playing it, but they're still good, but they're okay with the loss. We put a lot of effort into creating a number of fresh mechanics that make use of simple inputs so the players can have fun with a variety of new techniques and strategies for each character. Along those lines, fighting games, by the very nature, get more complex as rosters expand. That is not true. But we believe unifying input properties will ease the pace of the snowballing complexity. That actually creates snowball. It's actually the opposite. I imagine various fighting game players, including myself to be honest, will instantly use technical inputs despite the existence of simple. That's not true. Not to mention the pressure of the match can be intense, so accidentally misfires can happen in battle. To this end, that's part of fighting game. Imagine if life was like, yo, if you shoot the ball will magnet inside the net for basketball. Like, no matter where you shoot, it just magnets to the net. It would be exciting to watch. The exciting to watch is the player positioning themselves, shooting, and it goes in. But if it goes in, yo, it's hype. The biggest problem right now is literally this change did not improve anything. All it did was reduce people from actually playing classic controls, which is the people who are most likely, I'm not gonna say everybody, on the competitive environment, which has nothing to do with what you're trying to like showcase. And then what blows my mind too is that they heard the complaints and they're like, you know, we've been reading everything, but this is the reason. Everybody's saying this is not a good reason. All you have to do is just revert it back. And arguing with people who play a game all the time in the state right now is not a good idea. Reason why is because those are the guys that are keeping it alive. But we do not believe this will make the game shallow experience. Yes, it will. Looking beyond skill inputs, we want to bring the fun for fighting games like reading your opponent or navigate. That's the thing. It's like doing all of these things that they're talking about has nothing to do with the change. You can literally do that now. Yes, we want people to make good games, but they're gonna go where the money is. My brother in Christ, let me tell you, bro. Granblue Versus Rising is not going to drop them $2 billion, $2 million. This game literally came out because the players who kept playing their game wanted this game. They wanted Rollback Netcode. They wanted these things. Reading input and navigating moving strategy to players far and wide. We expect to see. That's what I'm trying to say is why are you trying to force new players to read players that have been playing the game for 10 plus years? Why are you trying to make them read the opponent? Let them play the game and just have fun. You don't have to force these things on them. That's my biggest gripe. Is these companies, this is the problem. They force, it's never good, bro. All the real ones against this insanity, please fill out the feedback survey. Honestly, I feel like new players should actually fill this out too, because at the end of the day, you're not asking for this. You're just asking for great fun, accessibility. You're not going to be competing. You don't care about that. You definitely going to hear my feedback, including your opinions on the skill input change. Obviously, people are going to be like, yo, everybody's saying it. And if they double down on that, I don't know what to tell you. Personally, for me, if you want to like make it more accessible, I will make every like story mode mission co-op. You want to make it more fun? Add more co-op to some of the levels instead of just a couple. Like that. More game modes. They already got Fall Guys in the game. Do more like that. What it has to do with the end game? The end game was already set. You already made it accessible for everybody. I actually like the co-op story mode, personally for me. And obviously, I'm a sweat lord. I like my casual. I got a little casualism in me. But the thing that is so weird to me is that Granblue Rising was not made because new players were like, yo, we want a new fighting game. Granblue Rising was like, yo, if we're gonna add rollback, we might as well add all of this other shit. We're gonna make an ultimate package where you get all of the characters. So, you know, that's the reason why we're gonna charge people $60 again. They're really trying their hardest to make the path for new players to experience better and shorter, which is impossible. Because the person who wants to learn, they have to be willing to learn. If they don't want to learn, you cannot force people to learn. So don't put them in environments where it actually discourage them and quit. But guess what? No matter how much that new player comes to fighting game, he is not going to be able to do that the moment he touches the game. So it's counterintuitive. You know, at least with Project L, it's like, yo, we all simple. They committed to the get-go. This game had both. And you're like, you still have both there, but there's no reason to use the other option. It's like, it's just there for what? What is it there for? Oh man, it feels so good to do a Hadouken. You know what feels good when you're playing a competitive game? Making it out of the pools.